All right, we're live. Welcome in. I'm the real _ G Warner on Twitter. Gonna go through the World Cup qualifiers from Sunday, March 27th through Tuesday, March 29th. If my math is right. And then might do one more for the CONCACAF as they're the only thing going on Thursday, I believe. Without further ado, we're going to start with today's matches, which is CONCACAF. I'm going to try to have the lines and also the standings up. Pretty good result for the U.S. at Mexico, but they're not the first match. So Canada, Jamaica, currently Canada 1.5 goal favorite. Pretty much it's 5 teams for 3.5 spots right now, that half spot being a playoff spot in the number 4 position. 6 through 8, El Salvador, Jamaica, Honduras, all eliminated. Jamaica was a favorite, fell behind to El Salvador in their match on Thursday. Been pretty disappointing this entire competition, qualifying octagon, whatever you call it. Canada on the other side has been big time have impressed a lot. They did not fare very well at Costa Rica and basically gave Costa Rica a good shot to now qualify in some form or fashion, or at least make the playoff. And that was because Canada went on the road, were a road favorite, which didn't make a lot of sense to me, but also took an early red card at the end of the first half, which removes Mark Anthony Kaye from not Mary Kay, but something Kay. From this match, as his red card was, I think it was 2 yellows. It's not great, not the most intelligent, but Canada's still in really good shape. They're on 25 points. They are 6 points ahead of 4th place in that playoff spot, so are pretty much only need a draw. So they're not in bad shape, which does give me some sort of pause about them as a 1.5 goal favorite. Jamaica certainly hasn't been very good, and certainly want to see what Jamaica is throwing out there because they've been eliminated for a while now, sitting 7th out of 8. There's some pride in the line for sure, but I think their best asset really is their goalkeeper, which is not a great sign, though it certainly is going to be a help against a Canadian team in the cold. Looks like there was snow there in Toronto. A friend of mine's going to that match today. And I think it's just one of those things where Canada's got a lot of pressure. I mean, they need a draw. So a 1-goal win satisfies them significantly. They're celebrating at the final whistle. Really, even with any sort of lead, I think they then go into a pretty conservative mode and try to hold on for dear life, get a point, and move on. Now, I think that from where they sit, since that automatic playoff berth, I think that they're happy with a 1-0 victory. So that makes me very interested in Jamaica. Though it's really hard to know what Jamaica's going to do here. Imagine that they're going to try to go out all attacking, try to win this matchup, just because they have nothing else to do, and a win will look good probably for their manager and whoever the heck is on the roster for the next World Cup qualifying in 4 years from now. I don't know. That's the biggest issue for me, is trying to figure out what Jamaica is playing for, what they care about. And it would totally make sense for them to play the youngest team that they could possibly throw out there. I just don't know if they have enough. They probably have too much pride to do that sort of thing. I just don't really like Canada as a strong team that has deserved a lot of points so far based on a counterattacking game plan. I'm not sure that they're strong enough to, give a 1.5 goals to anybody, especially the Jamaica side that does have some talent. Moving to the next, El Salvador and Costa Rica. Currently, El Salvador, a 0.5 goal underdog at home. Played spoilers or whatever you call it on the road. We're in good shape against Jamaica before conceding late and I think drawing. Costa Rica with that big win, but they also played against 10 men for a long time, and we're in a position where it almost looked kind of dangerous that Canada might hit the crossbar, and we're certainly looking a lot more threatening than you'd expect a 10-man team against 11 to be doing. But fast forward to this one, Costa Rica got their win. They're now in 4th place, 1 point ahead of Panama, and are I'm sure looking to try to win these matches. I don't know that a point is. See, when you start thinking about who's playing who and how that goes into, I can get to a little bit later, but I guess Costa Rica with the idea that a point on the road here at El Salvador is probably the minimum limit to their ambitions. 1 point would put them on 20. And even if Panama did beat the U.S. on the road, which they've had some really tough performances going back for the last 20 or so years against the U.S. in America, but you could say that Panama's better, USA is worse, or the divide is not as big as it used to be. Certainly, that argument probably holds. But anyway, for El Salvador, they're playing spoiler again, situation where they have nothing to play for. But certainly, I think finishing as high in the group as possible is going to restore a lot of orgullo or pride into the national team, and hopefully be a building block for the future. Still a really small nation, and I don't think there are a lot of expectations for them. But Costa Rica certainly have all the pressure. They have to go on the road and win this match as a half a goal favorite. And so that makes me like the home underdog, though I got to say Costa Rica, they're more, to me, a defensive side that are going to try to get you on a counterattack or use aged 40 plus or whatever, however old he is, Brian Ruiz, come off the bench second half to try to do some damage. I don't really see them as an offense that I'm too scared of, especially on the road as a favorite. But ultimately, without getting a full goal of insurance, it's hard to know if El Salvador is really worth it. Though they've been great against the spread from what I remember so far in this competition. The U.S. then hosts Panama. Currently, the U.S. a 1-goal favorite, down from 1.25. But very juiced -1 right now. And imagine the U.S. money is only going to come in, especially Sunday, without a lot of other games going on, especially with college basketball ending pretty early today. I think Panama is a side that I'm interested in. They certainly squandered a 1-0 lead at Honduras, bottom side in CONCACAF, and that might keep them out of the World Cup in this window, which is disappointing for them, I'm sure. But they're a counterattacking side with a pretty – I've been impressed by their manager so far. I think he knows what he's doing. I think they're going to limit the U.S.'s chances. USA currently with 1 point means that Panama could not catch them. I don't know if that's probably a pretty low rate ambition for them, though. So I don't know that really matters too much. 1 point does then put, let's say Costa Rica wins, then that and USA draw with only a 3-point lead, that would make the U.S. Visit to Costa Rica in the last match in the octagonal a big matchup. So that's certainly concerning. I think the U.S. are expecting to win at home. Certainly have to win by more than a goal to cover the spread right now. And that makes me interested in the other side, because what the U.S. did was they went to Mexico and they played, despite a lot of people calling for and expecting for a little bit of a rotation to their side because the Mexico match didn't mean that much. Certainly getting a point was important, though they probably deserve more than that from how things went. Definitely didn't look good in the last few minutes and lost Tim Weah to a yellow card. Somehow got Tyler Adams through, who was risking a yellow card suspension if he got another one. But he played 80 minutes. So quick turnaround from the altitude at the Azteca in Mexico City to then coming back to Orlando or wherever the heck they're playing, which won't be as difficult of an environment for Panama based on weather. So that's a good thing for Panama as well. And I think the U.S. just expecting them to score goals seems really, really foolish to me. I mean, they have 16 goals in 12 matches so far in qualifying, which probably is a little bit more than I would have expected, actually. But they're going to face what's likely a Panama low block. Certainly, there's always, when you're betting a team getting more than a goal or a full goal, there's always that late goal opportunity for the U.S. to tack on and score late. I just don't know that the U.S. really has done enough to score goals, certainly not in first halves. And if you don't score in the first half, then you're limiting your chances to get 2 goals in the second half, making that a lot harder. Early goal certainly throws things all over the place, and maybe Panama are forced to come out and be a little bit more aggressive, especially as they sit in the 5th place spot. Costa Rica win and they get to 22 points, and Panama lose, they can't catch them. So there is a point in this matchup where I think there's a good chance that Panama have to push forward. The Costa Rica match and result will basically be known when this game starts. So that's either good or bad, depending on how that result goes for what Panama will end up needing to do. I do think that their best case for success or best scenario for success is for Panama to sit back, defend, and try to get you on the counterattack. And that's a really good setup against a team like the U.S. that really struggles to score, that has no real goal-scoring threat from their striker position. Crosses in the box don't seem very successful, maybe set pieces, but as a more than 1 goal favorite, potentially where I'm expecting this to close, I'm pretty interested in backing Panama. Next is Honduras and Mexico. Currently, Honduras, a 1.25 underdog at home. And that's what happens when you've won 0 of your 12 competitive matches in this qualifying window and sit bottom. They've given up 23 goals, so almost 2 goals a match, which is pretty bad. And Mexico, I got to say, Mexico has not looked good. They refused to bring in Chicharito for some reason. I know he's old, but like they could use any sort of striker that could do something because Raul Jimenez is just not a goal scorer. Mexico have had a lot of trouble scoring goals, and anything above a goal is so high, especially on the road. Problem is, I just don't know that Honduras are good enough to back. I mean, certainly would not fault anyone for taking that number, because I think Mexico escaping with a 1-0 victory or 2-1 at Honduras would be like perfect for them, and they'd be really happy with that. Would be probably wasting as much time as they could towards the end to escape from there. There's a little pressure on Mexico. It seems like they feel like they're already in the World Cup, though they're in danger because Costa Rica can tie both Mexico and the U.S. with a victory if neither emerge with a point from this matchup or this, I guess, round of matches. I don't know. Gun to my head, certainly I'm playing Honduras, and would like to have the balls to do it. I just don't know that I do, unfortunately. And we'll see where this number goes as it keeps climbing. My interest in Honduras climbs as well. And I don't think that they've given up. They showed in coming back and drawing Panama from a 1-0 deficit on the road. That was pretty impressive. Not great for Panama, certainly, but sure, they're still fighting. And I don't know that Mexico is really that scary. And being a more than a goal favorite on the road just seems like they haven't been watching Mexico. Moving to Tuesday, we go to Asia for Japan, Vietnam. Japan's basically clinched. They're 2.25 goal favorite, not back in Vietnam. Iran, 1.5 to Lebanon. They've clinched, not really interested there. UAE getting a half from South Korea. South Korea's clinched. I mean, seems like that's all done in Asia. So I'll just go through this as quickly as possible. Oman, 1/2 goal favorite to China. Surprised China's not as good as Oman, but probably because I don't care about this very much. Syria, 1/4 goal underdog to Iraq at home. Iraq seems to be better than you'd expect, but okay. Saudi Arabia, a 1/4 goal favorite to Australia. Now, Australia, they unfortunately, I think, are headed towards a playoff to then get to a playoff because they're, let's see, that with. Yeah, I think this is the last match. So they're eliminated from the automatic bids. Japan and Saudi Arabia have taken that. Iran and South Korea blew everyone out of the water in Group A. Australia looks like they're gonna play either UAE or Iraq for that playoff spot to represent Asia. And so I guess the UAE Iraq matches are meaningful, and so maybe I'll go back and look at those for a second. I guess Lebanon on 6 points could tie, but probably not really that. I mean, they're possibly in this fight. Lebanon is or are, but I don't know that that's worth looking at. So UAE, Iraq, and then Australia facing Saudi Arabia, who are ahead of them in standings. I don't know if Australia doesn't look very good to me. They do have some players that are in Europe, but I don't know that I really want to. I mean, who knows what Saudi Arabia is playing for other than continuity? But we've seen Brazil and all these teams play their best sides, so it's very possible that Saudi Arabia does some rotating, but I don't know that Australia cares too much about this one other than trying to be as healthy as possible for that playoff. So going back up to Iraq, they're 1/4 goal favorite on the road at Syria. Certainly a win there would push them forward potentially to make that that playoff spot against Australia. The sad part is that Korea is already clinched and they're on the road at the UAE. So the UAE taking care of business at home seems a little bit more likely than Iraq on the road. But I guess the nice part for Iraq is they're playing a much worse side like Syria, whereas South Korea is never good, even if they're rotating players. I can't imagine Heung-min Son and other players like that are in the lineup, but maybe it will be based on country pride. And that's a lot more in Asia than I thought I'd do. So moving to Africa, also on Tuesday of Nigeria and Ghana. That was a 0-0 first leg. Ghana currently a 1/4 goal underdog on the road, likely climbing to a 1/2 goal underdog. And I'm interested in that. It's a big regional rivalry based on, I think they border each other. Certainly don't like each other, it sounds like, in a lot of the lead up to the first leg. Not a lot of impressive stuff. I think Nigeria had a goal disallowed, but 0-0. Away goals do count in CAF or Africa play, so that matters somewhat, but not here because no goals are scored. I think from where I sit on this matchup, I think Nigeria certainly has phone calls come in, of course, while we're live. Anyway, um, Nigeria is one of those sides that I think has not really lived up to the billing. They certainly have some good talent and good players, but I don't really know that they. I mean, they do have some good players up top, but they didn't really do a lot against Ghana on the road. Certainly against a big crowd, maybe that mattered and made them play a little bit more conservatively, though. As this climbs to half a goal, I'm getting more and more interested in Ghana because I think this is a pretty competitive matchup, and there's a very good chance that a lot of these second legs that are primed to go to extra time, that they get really conservative, and those last 10 minutes are really the golden era to have a half a goal underdog because you're really only having to dodge goals for 80 minutes versus 90 in that type of example. And Ghana does seem to have the ability to get out there and score because I don't know that Nigeria's defense is that impressive. Moving to Senegal and Egypt, currently, I guess first leg went Egypt's way with a 1-0 victory at home. Thanks to an own goal early off a crossbar shot attempt by Mo Salah. Rematch from AFCON final that went goalless through extra time to penalties that Senegal won. Egypt's dealing with a lot of injuries in their back line, but are a half a goal underdog and ultimately are going to be doing everything they can to nullify what Senegal put together. Now, the problem if you back at Egypt here is that if they end up falling behind 1-0, they'll probably still play the same way and not really try to score because they haven't really scored any goals despite moving along through penalties over and over and over again, it seemed like in AFCON. I think that's the same strategy here that they're going to try to defend as much as possible. And that's not great as a half a goal underdog if they concede that first goal. But still one of those things is when will Senegal score? Senegal had a lot of possession, a lot of chances, but really didn't create too much. That was troubling to Egypt. The Egypt keeper has been really good. In AFCON play was awesome and didn't really get troubled too much in that first matchup. Certainly at home for Egypt was a big deal with the crowd behind them. But I'm not really hating the idea to kind of go against Senegal, who certainly are more talented, have a lot better players, but I don't know that they really have a finishing touch that makes them that likely to score. And I think Mo Salah, whenever you back him as an underdog, I mean, it's hard not to. And Egypt did very well for me in AFCON. So I think getting half of a goal is of interest to me right now. Certainly want to see where the Egypt injury situations in their center backs especially works out. They're supposedly down in their 4th and 5th selections, which in Egypt, the not very deep country of football talent, does certainly seem like a concern. Algeria and Cameroon, currently Algeria half a goal favorite, all the juice on Cameroon on the road. And Algeria took a 1-0 victory on the road. And that was a huge result for Algeria. And I think ultimately puts them in a position where they can play defensively. A draw will win them. A goalless draw would win them. And really anything but a 2-2 draw in Algeria go through based on goal differential because 1-1, they're still ahead. So that puts Cameroon in a position where I kind of want to back them. Certainly they're going to have to play aggressively and they're going to have to go forward and try to score goals. At least one to start forcing the match towards extra time, but 1-1 is a winner, 0-0 is a winner, and Cameroon doesn't advance. So there's a lot of situations there where Cameroon, who I think are a little bit stronger of a side, though Algeria is certainly very good themselves, and have players all throughout Europe as well, and probably more than Cameroon. But, I just don't know that Algeria, I mean, based on the way this sets up with that road goal ahead of them, they can be pretty conservative. They're at home and we'll have a crowd behind them, and that matters. But I feel like there's a lot of things that point to Cameroon drawing this game, it not being enough for them to advance, yet that being enough for them to cover the spreads. That makes me interested for sure in Cameroon. They've been kind of disappointing, though certainly with a lot of pressure hosting AFCON, that any sort of performance not winning it was probably not enough. Morocco then hosting Congo, the Dominican Republic of the Congo, I believe. Morocco 1-goal favorite, did a good job coming back from behind. Looked like they were going to go down 2-0 in the first leg, but ended up kind of going right down the pitch and taking a 1-0 deficit, squaring the match, and then holding on for dear life to the end. So that road goal matters. 0-0, Morocco goes through. I think as a 1-goal favorite, it's a pretty big number for Morocco to lay, but they're very talented. And I think the Congo are not really on the same type of level. Certainly the Congo also have to push forward. A goalless draw or a 1-1 draw will, I guess 1-1 will force it to extra time. 0-0 is not enough. So Congo will probably be on the front foot a little bit more than you'd want and will be pushing forward. But ultimately, I think 1-1 is still reasonably in the cards for, and that would certainly cover the spread, getting a full goal of insurance on the Congo. So that's the side I'm leaning right now. Juice is pretty even right now, a little bit more on the Congo side, but I can't imagine that one is going to get lost on a smaller and less respected nation. So Congo certainly on my list to potentially look at further. And the last match in Africa is Tunisia hosting Mali. Currently, Tunisia a quarter goal favorite at home. They took a 1-0 victory on the road at Mali thanks to a shocking own goal and also a red card soon afterwards on the same Mali defender. Pretty tough. Sissoko, I think it was. Tough stretch for him. It was like all within a few minutes. But Tunisia did fairly well, advanced in AFCON without doing much offensively, and seemed to be kind of the shock advancier or team to advance. And I got to say, Mali, they do have some talent, and certainly are going to be on the front foot trying to square this match up. Need that road goal at the very least to force extra time. And they'll be pushing, draws enough for Tunisia, who I think might even at home play defensively to try to hold on to their away goal advantage. And with that one away goal in their back pocket, even losing 1-0 at home, that's still okay because they go to extra time based on road goals in aggregate being tied. So Mali seemed like the better side to me. They're certainly currently a quarter goal underdog with all the juice. So maybe that falls to pick them. That would probably be my guess on where this line goes. It's probably something I need to look at and want to get in on as quickly as soon as I see lineups. But Mali's got some talent, and I don't know that Tunisia is better. And I feel like they're in a situation where I think playing defensively and conservatively is a good thing, and that's not great as a favorite. Moving to Europe, as we got, I think CONMEBOL is the last one based on timeframes. But anyway, Poland hosting Sweden. Currently, Poland a quarter goal favorite. They got the bye because Russia was kicked out of the competition for waging a war that shouldn't be happening. And fuck Vladimir Putin, excuse my French, kid show, I know. But Poland is a quarter goal favorite. I don't really believe in them. Their defense has been pretty weak, looked pretty bad in the Euros. They're a pretty easy team to bet against, and still have a lot of fanfare and get a lot of respect from odds makers because of Robert Lewandowski, which he deserves because he's awesome, but he's awesome on a club team, not on Poland that can't really create. Zelensky's good, but that leaves them pretty limited. Sweden, I mean, who knows what their legs look like, but they're basically playing with 3 days in between their matches. Going on the road to Poland's not great, but coming from a home match and Europe's not too far of travel from one place to another. All the juice is currently on Sweden, so maybe this falls to pick'ems. That's probably the number I'm looking at closest. But I think Sweden are a much better side that have a lot of youth, but a lot of talent, attacking talent, especially in Isak and Forsberg from Red Bull Leipzig, plus Kulusevski's been playing so well for Spurs. I'm going to try to bet Sweden for sure on Tuesday afternoon and looking forward to it because I think they beat Poland on the road outright. And as a quarter goal underdog, that's exactly what I want. Portugal then hosting North Macedonia in the shocker of the European World Cup qualifying playoff round, I guess. Portugal didn't look great, but took a 2-0 lead, went 2-1, I guess, conceded to go 2-1 and then conceded a penalty, which could have gone 2-2. But somehow Burak Yilmaz, the tough year continues as he hit a penalty over the crossbar. They added one late to really screw anyone who bet Turkey. Sorry if you did. Looked like it wasn't deserved, then it was suddenly deserved, and then it looked like you're going to be even, and then give a late goal to lose. I mean, soccer's brutal. Surprised I didn't have that one because that's usually how it goes for me. But Portugal's a 1 3/4 goal favorite with all the juice, likely climbing to 2. That's a big number. A lot of safety there for North Macedonia, though. Just played at Italy, have to now travel to Portugal. Defended their hearts out. Gave up 32 shots, only 5 on target or something like that against Italy, and miraculously stole one at the end. I think it's the same game plan they're going to use. I don't know that their defense is good enough to do that. Getting 2 goals, though, is a big difference in 1 3/4. So we'll see if they get, which I expect it will. Moving last but not least to CONMEBOL, and there's some interesting stuff happening here. Unfortunately, Peru losing to Uruguay by a single goal was good for a push for me, but ultimately not good for their World Cup situation. Colombia with a huge win and scored 3 goals after they hadn't scored in 7 matches. Pretty awesome. But anyway, getting into it, Bolivia 1 goal underdog at home to Brazil. Seems really short because Brazil seems to be playing all their best players. No one's beating them, and they crush everybody. And Bolivia coming off a 3-0 loss to Colombia side that hadn't scored in forever, maybe a year. I don't know how long it was, but 7 competitive matches might have been a year considering the international breaks. So few and far between, but not great. Certainly not a team I'm going to back. The worst team in CONMEBOL that somehow is still going to finish ahead of Venezuela. Peru and Paraguay, currently Peru a 1-goal favorite, which Paraguay coming off a big win, hadn't scored in a while either. Got 3, helped 1 by an own goal, but ultimately a good win over Ecuador, who had already clinched, so they're safe and sound, as are Uruguay as well. So it looks like really all that's being played for is that last playoff position. Peru, Colombia, and Chile all in striking distance to get it. And we'll get to those numbers. I guess we're on one of those now. Peru currently 1-goal favorite. All the juice on Paraguay on the road, but from where I sit with Peru, they're a defensive side that wants to sit back and counter. That doesn't really fit a 1-goal favorite, though Paraguay are certainly going to probably sit back and counter themselves. So who can counter more here? And Peru at home, certainly with the need to take the initiative to get 3 points here to try to cement themselves. I guess a win does clinch them in the playoff spot because they can't be caught by Colombia or Chile if they get the full 3 points. So that's a big deal. I do think at 1-0, Peru probably shuts the doors and makes Paraguay try to play with them. I'm not sure that's the greatest strategy because Paraguay can certainly get one. We'll see, because Paraguay did rotate quite a bit. You played a lot of young players in their last matchup, but ultimately, I think Paraguay are going to put out a good lineup. If they don't, this line climbs probably even higher as well. And I don't know that Peru can really be relied upon to score because they're really great as an underdog, I think, but really good underdogs don't really do well as favorites, especially large ones of a full goal. So interested in Paraguay for sure on Tuesday. Ecuador then hosting Argentina. Ecuador currently a 1/4 goal underdog at home. Line seems really short to me. Almost all the juices on Argentina, so maybe it's climbing to a half. But both these teams have clinched, have qualified. Nothing to really worry about. Can't be caught for the playoff position. So hard to say what lineups are going to look like. But Argentina certainly are better than Ecuador, even on the road in Quito. Venezuela then hosting Colombia. Currently Venezuela a 3/4 goal underdog at home. And Colombia need a win here. They're going to go all out. Scored 3 in their last matchup. Certainly, I don't believe in them to score 3 again. Though Venezuela sitting bottom of CONMEBOL, and with all their economic problems, who knows what's that done? I just feel like a lot of their best players haven't played for the side this season, so that's not great. But getting 3/4 of goal, probably not enough for me. If that climbs to 1, which doesn't look like based on juice right now that it'll get there, but if it did, that makes me a little more interested because I don't know that I really believe in Colombia, who have all the pressure with all their talent if they don't make this World Cup. And it looks like at best they're going to be in a playoff. So that's going to be tough. But I think if they do make the playoff, likely the CONMEBOL, whoever gets there will get in. Colombia can't be caught by Chile if they win. They can't catch Peru if Peru win. So that's a tough scenario. And certainly there's going to be some crazy stuff going on. But Colombia are going to be going all out to score. I do think that puts their defense in a little bit of peril. Venezuela, if they're playing their best players like Darwin Machis and Herrera, they can certainly do things offensively. I just don't know really what Venezuela's mindset is. So I think until I get a +1, I'm not sure I'm going to even invest in that or investigate that. And then Chile hosting Uruguay. Currently Uruguay a 1/2 goal underdog on the road with all the juice. So it's really a 1/4 goal line right now. Chile -1/4. I'll use that instead. Chile with a tough performance, but had Brazil. Not much you can do about that. I think if they win here, they can hop over Peru and Colombia. Hoping that weird situation, I guess, if Peru draw and Chile win. I don't know if that would be a goal differential thing, but it would ultimately, Chile would have to improve their goal differential, so that would help. Uruguay clinched, but certainly weren't really that pretty. Finished are currently a -2 in goal differential, so there's still, a lot of work to be done there. And I think they're a team that I want to bet against, I think, in this in the future, because they still get a lot of credit. And I feel like the Uruguay side has a lot of big names that hasn't really done much. With that said, Chile is not really a great offense either. I would consider Uruguay a better side, but certainly have nothing to play for. So that certainly plays into Chile's hands. I think from where I sit, I'll look to back Uruguay as an underdog here, of course, with no pressure, considering Chile has it all. But I want to see who Uruguay is starting and what that all looks like. And I think that will bring me to the end of this episode. Thank you for everybody who came in here. Feel free to throw some questions at me if you got them on Twitter or StreamYard or YouTube or wherever you find this, feel free to throw something at me and I'll reply. But looking forward to it. I feel like deserves a lot more attention than it gets from the media because World Cup qualifying is awesome. But and there's some money to be made here. So tune in to the real _ G Warner on Twitter, and I will be throwing some more plays in there, hopefully CONCACAF tonight, and certainly some stuff that I really like for Tuesday. So see you then. Thanks for watching at the real _ G Warner.